What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? It is Miles. You are listening, Real Talk of Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. We got two special guests today. They gonna be here all NFL season. JV on the bottom left, Nee on the bottom right. What's good, family? How you feeling, Nee?
I'm feeling good, man. It's always a blessing to be on here talking ball with y'all, man. I love it. I love it.
How you feeling, JV?
What's good, MJ? I'm feeling good, man. One more day until kickoff. So I'm pumped, dude. This is awesome.
Hey, I tweeted something. I said last Sunday off till February.
I saw that.
It
Grind,
really is. It really
grind
is.
comes. I mean,
You
hey, if
really
you
got
got a
no life
girl,
now.
whatever,
It's
like she
done.
gonna have to adjust. I'm sorry.
I be trying to tell her that. I be trying to tell her.
And then if you watch college too, oh,
Mm.
it's really over. Like it's really I'm into college, but I'm definitely way more into it than I was last year. It's just I can't be not the whole Saturday, but Sunday,
No, I can't.
I'm glued to it. It's church and then it's the game. And something in the NFL was a flat out bombshell. Micah Parsons, he got traded for 2 firsts and Kenny Clark from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. I saw it. I was at home, I believe. I believe I was at home and I was like, oh, I gotta record like ASAP No Rocky. I gotta record. I've had my takes on it real quick. I think the Packers are a threat to the Eagles. On the Eagles side of it, I do think in the whole entire NFC, they become a threat. I think they're the favorite to win their division, but I would love to know your thoughts. Nee, you had the Packers already as the number one seed in the NFC North. So how you feeling now? They just added a top four edge rusher in the game.
I'm feeling great. I'm not gonna say a lie to you. I feel great in this take. Now, do I think they're at the team of the Eagles? I hold the Eagles in a high, just pedestal, and we know this from what I said about the crazy bowl prediction and the way I talk about them. This team is just loaded. Howie Roseman had done such a good job in building this team, but now the Packers have a guy that on the biggest down against Elaine Johnson, Jordan Mailata, can make a play and just change a game with a strip sack, with a big sack on the third down. He can just make a play like that. And I think the defense truly lacked that. And you pair that with Rashawn Gary now. You already have Xavier McKinney at the safety position. Keshawn Nixon, one of the more underrated corners in all of football. Now, quarterback-wise, Jordan Love, this is the biggest thing. They can be as good as the Eagles. They really could. But Jordan Love, a streaky guy. We know when he's on, he is on the money. One of the best quarterbacks we've seen in the NFC. But when he's off, it's 3 picks in the wild card game. It's that type of performance. So that's my biggest question right now. I still have them, of course, at the number one seed in the NFC North. They're fighting with the Rams and the Commanders as the second best team in the NFC. But Jordan Love, all the pressure's on you now. That's how I look at it, man.
JV?
Yeah, I mess with it. I thought the Packers were hella overrated before the Micah trade. And I'm a man of my word, so I'm going to kind of stick with it. But it definitely does scream like wild card team to me. I still think Minnesota's winning the division. I'm really high on them this year, unlike a lot of people. But I think my thing with Micah is, sure, you got 2 first-round picks out of it. You got Kenny Clark, which is good. Like, you're getting good value out of it. But anytime you got a chance to go and get a proven stud, an all-pro, a multiple-time first-team all-pro in Micah Parsons, who's below the age of 28, 26 years old, you got to go and get it done. Like, you got to give him the money. You got to give him the bag. And that's the thing that I was shocked by with Dallas. Those 2 first-round picks could be something special in the future, but you don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty with that. And with Micah, you have that. You know he's going to be an all-pro guy year in, year out, at the prime of his career. To give him up like that, it was wild to me. So you look at a Packers defense that could have used somebody like Micah. They're going to use him exceptionally this year. They're going to get to the quarterback. Secondary still has a few questions. They'll have to solve that during the season, obviously. And then Jordan Love, like you said, Nee, I think he's incredible. I really do like Jordan Love, but it's the turnovers and the big moments. I don't even think there's games where I watch and he plays completely terrible. It really is just, can he protect the ball for an entire game and throw 25 passes and not throw a game-losing interception like we saw against Detroit in the rain last year, or 3 picks against Philly in the wild card game, right?
Yeah, I feel like with Jordan Love specifically, the Packers brought in Josh Jacobs to take the pressure off of him. Now, he still was inconsistent last year. He was throwing hella picks. He had some bright moments, like when Jordan Love is on his game, you could argue at his apex, he's a top 5 level talent. Like, he's up there with the guys when he's on a heater. But his floor is a bad floor sometimes. Like, when he's really not on it, he's really not on it. But also, the Packers never had a true wide receiver one. So Matthew Golden, if he becomes that wide receiver one, which all Packers fans have to hope and pray he is, and you brought in Micah Parsons and Jeff Hafley, who coming from Boston College 2 years ago, I mean, this guy knows his stuff. You should be hella encouraged. You should believe that you're winning the division, and you should believe that it's y'all, it's the Eagles, 49ers, Rams, Lions, if you want to say them, or whoever, they're in the pool of Super Bowl contenders in the NFC. Now, I was arguing with some Eagles fans, and they was saying, hey, the Packers aren't a threat. And I was talking to y'all before we pressed record, and I was like, all right, there's extremes with this, because there's one extreme that is saying the Packers are undeniably going to be the best team in the league. It's them and the Ravens. They're winning the Super Bowl. It's a foregone conclusion. They got Micah Parsons. They got their guy. Then there's the other side of it that's like Micah Parsons overrated, can't stop the run. And I do feel like, and I'll get y'all thoughts. Y'all watch film, all of that. It's like this whole not stopping the run thing. Yes. Is he the best at stopping the run? Is he Myles Garrett? No. Like, he's not TJ Watt. He's not at that level. He's like a tick right, like right below that. But it's also his circumstance. Like Mozzie Smith. If Mozzie Smith was what the Cowboys thought he was supposed to be, you're not looking at Micah Parsons not stopping the run. You're looking at this whole Cowboys defensive line like being great. So it's the other pieces, I think, that play into it when you look at the negatives with Micah. Now, they talked about the media stuff or the podcast and how some of his teammates didn't like it. I mean, look, you had hell of his teammates put Micah Parsons as their profile picture, like whether it was, I think, CD or a couple of other guys there. So I'm not really buying that too much. Were there some guys that didn't like the podcast stuff? Yeah, but I think ultimately Mike is going to be focused. He's going to be lasered in. And the Packers are definitely going to be one of the 3-4 teams. I got them personally number 2 that I'm most, I wouldn't say scared of, but most, all right, thinking about, all right, what y'all finna do this year? Because they got a home run hitter, a guy that can get to the quarterback, and it's a passing league. It's a passing league. So that's how I look at it. I mean, what about this whole notion that they have to stop the run? That's what Jerry was saying. Because I'll go with you, Nee, because with Jerry, I think he believes to an extent, I've won without you, Micah. You're not Charles Haley. I've seen better guys than you. You're a great talent, but if you want, to play these games, I'm talking about Jerry's point of view. If you want to play these games with your agent and your agent doesn't want the deal that I want to give you, I can go ahead and trade you, get some first round picks. I'm great at drafting players, so we can retool and all that stuff. I think the whole stop and the run thing, look, you can play Saquon Barkley twice a year, and he's still going to kill you with or with not Micah Parsons. But what's your thoughts on bringing in Kenny Clark, the notion that the Cowboys are going to be just so much improved? And Cowboys fans have, believe that, I guess, delusion or that belief too, that, hey, we're going to be so much better stopping the run now that we have let go of Micah Parsons? Nee?
You want to go? You want me to go? I mean, I think it's simple as this, man. I think he's full of it. Talking about Jerry Jones, right? I think he has. I was talking to some friend about this the other day. He has no idea how good Micah Parsons is. Like, I think majority of people who heard about this trade have no idea how good Micah Parsons is. One of my introduction to football was Von Miller, Super Bowl 50, that crazy game he had, right? The strip sack, the making crazy plays against Cam Newton. Nobody said, but damn, he was real good against the run, though. Right? No one cares about that. At the end of the day, you said it best, Miles. This is a passing league. Get to the quarterback, and he's done that consistently. Not only that, he is versatile. He can play the end up linebacker. He can play really all three linebacker positions, especially playing on the edge. This is a guy, Micah Parsons, that just changes the game. You can't buy that. You hope in these 2 draft picks you can draft another Micah Parsons. You pray you can, and you probably can't. So I just don't believe Jerry Jones is saying that, okay, we'll stop the run really well with Kenny Clark, who is solid. I'm not going to say he's bad, but one, you drafted Mozzie Smith in the first round. That didn't pan out. And when you lose Micah Parsons, okay, you bring in Kenny Clark, a defensive tackle, a nose tackle. Saquon Barkley, what will he do this Thursday? Run for 150, 175, 200?
Hey, I think the Eagles will make it a point that, Jerry, you said publicly that we could not stop the run. That's essentially why we traded Micah Parsons. The Eagles going to be like, all right, dumbass, you done traded your star pass rusher, and we're still going to run for $175 on your ass. Like, I think the Eagles are going to do that. But how you feel, JV, about the whole can't stop the run thing?
Yeah, MJ, I've talked about Jerry multiple times, and I've said it again and again that ego is a huge poison when it comes to the NFL. And when you're playing an ultimate team sport and you got so much ego and pride as an owner and as a GM, you're going to run into problems. So when you think you can do better than the players that are putting it on for you on the field, that's a problem. And sure, you can talk about Micah in the podcast, like you mentioned, MJ. The same thing goes for Aaron Rodgers, right? Last year, he was on the Pat McAfee show a ton. People had a problem. The issue becomes when you're not performing. Aaron didn't have a good year last year, so people started pointing it out. But with Micah, you're talking 14, 16 sacks per year. He could do whatever the hell he wants. I don't care. He could be on whatever podcast, whatever show. I don't care. If he's out there giving me a sack or 2 per game, that's money. That's money well spent, in my opinion. So as far as stopping the run goes, sure, maybe Kenny Clark can provide you a little bit more in that aspect of the game. But like you said, you sign Micah Parsons knowing what you're getting into. 16, 20 sack season. You can stop the run elsewhere. You can get some good interior guys on cheaper deals, bring them in some veterans, and get the job done there. Micah's a pass rusher at the end of the day. So I don't get it, obviously. And I think Jerry is trying to find some sort of substance as to why it was smart to let go of Micah. It just didn't make sense. You had a first-team All-Pro, the future of your franchise. It was a big contract, but again, 26 years old, you're not going to get much better than that.
100%. Let's get into Saquon Barkley, because he was voted the #1 player by his peers in the NFL's top 100. I personally, y'all know me, loved it. Had no problem with it. Now, some folks said Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, who just won MVP. I get folks leaning quarterback, but if you're just talking football player, I feel like it's a no-brainer. And when I've seen a guy in Saquon Barkley against the Rams torture them, just have them on the field looking demoralized, I mean, Saquon Barkley is the goods. He single-handedly won multiple games for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a reason why the Eagles were a historic run offense, and Saquon Barkley was the biggest reason because of that. Wasn't doing this with Miles Sanders, was not doing this with DeAndre Swift, Love both those guys. Respectfully, it's levels to this stuff. So I see that. But it's also like, all right, he's voted number 1 going into this season. And there's some doubt if he can replicate that year. I'm not saying he's going to get 2K. Could I see 1,600, 1,700 yards, 12, 13, 15 touchdowns? I could see that for sure. He damn near could have had 20 plus touchdowns if it wasn't for the tush push. So I see a little bit of a drop off in running the ball just because I think it's going to get to a point later on. I think Jalen Hurts has a big year, but I think there's not going to be a slump or a down year for Saquon Barkley. But first, JV, what was your reaction to Saquon being named the NFL's best player? And do you feel like he's going to replicate what he did last season, or is he looking for more of a down year and a fall kind of similar to Christian McCaffrey?
As for my first reaction, MJ, anytime anything good happens to Philly, I think my mind immediately goes to you now. Like, I've seen you post so much about Philly, and immediately I'm thinking, damn, MJ's loving this. I could just see the grin on his face. But as far as Saquon Barkley goes, I think Barkley will lead the league in rushing again, flat out. I think you look at what Miles Sanders did and DeAndre Swift, and they were really good in Philly, right? Like, they ran for what, 1,200 yards. They had great seasons. So I don't know what people thought when they brought in a generational talent like Barkley, inserted him behind that great offensive line. It was only going to get better. You got Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson, elite offensive line. And then you look at the division. 130 yards per game against Washington and Dallas last year. He went for 176 against the Giants. Like, he's going to run all over that division. Again, I don't care what kind of pass rush the Giants have. It don't matter. Dallas is sorry. Washington, that defense, we don't know what it's going to be. He's going to drop 200 in one of those games. And then the thing with Philly, MJ, you pick your poison with the Eagles. You either load the box, which opens up passing lanes for Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, all the weapons they have over there, or you double up on A.J. Brown, you give some attention to Smitty, and the box is light. And you got Saquon Barkley running over that defense for 100, 120 yards, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's the thing with Philly. That's what makes them so elite. That's what makes the offense unguardable. And that's why they're so successful. So unless an injury happens, barring any injuries, they're the best offense in football, and that's going to run through Saquon Barkley. We saw that they limited Jalen Hurts' pass attempts near the end of the season because Barkley was having such a successful year. Sure, they can guard Barkley. They can put 7-8 guys in the box. You're going to run into trouble. And once you get A.J. Brown in one-on-one coverage, the defense is going to adjust. So, again, it's either Barkley goes for 1,600 and they give A.J. Brown a few more 100 on his receiving yard total, or Barkley just runs over defenses again. But he's going to lead the league in rushing again, in my opinion, with that O-line.
Nee, how do you feel about Saquon being number 1 on the NFL's top 100? And how do you feel like he'll do next season?
I mean, this is a guy that had an historical season. So him being number 1, I understand. I think this is a vote on in December. If I'm not mistaken, the playoff isn't really taken into account for the vote, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's true, I personally probably would have voted for Lamar Jackson. Just a mesmerizing play. Him being a quarterback really it weighs a little bit more. But if we're talking about the whole season, I think Saquon Barkley was definitely the best player the entire season. But I think this goes into what I think the season coming up will be. This Thursday, we're going to see the Cowboys sell out to stop the run. We already heard Jerry say, we will be better stopping the run. What does that mean, right? The Eagles have an historically good offensive line. Lane Johnson will be in the Hall of Fame. Mailata will be in the Hall of Fame. Dickerson's an all-pro. Cam Jurgens is an all-pro. They have great guys. I think we see Jalen Hurts have a great passing season. I think we see the first 4,000 passing yard season from Jalen Hurts because teams are going to stop the run. The same thing we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs do in the Super Bowl, and Hurts had himself a game. We're going to see that same thing this season. They're going to say, Jalen Hurts, can you beat us? And the answer will be yes, because we've seen it happen time and time again. If you give A.J. Brown these one-on-ones, Devontae Smith, these one-on-ones, Dallas Goedert, these one-on-ones, and we know when pushing the ball downfield, that is what Jalen Hurts does best. So I think we're going to see a huge season from Jalen Hurts because of Saquon Barkley being so dominant. So even if he doesn't have a 2,000-yard season or 1,800-yard season, his impact will still be felt even through Jalen Hurts' success this season.
100%. I mean, again, if you want to say a down year is getting 1,700 yards, 1,600 yards, like, all right, cool, I'll take that. If that's what a down year is, cool. But barring injury, I mean, this man has been on another level. Training camp, they've been saying like he's taken his whole regiment to a whole nother level. All the offensive linemen have said that. So we know what it is there. Now, I do want to get into the awards for the NFL season, but also we talked about Micah and we talked about Saquon. Let's get into this week 1 NFL slate because we got some games that's coming up obviously on Thursday with the Eagles. Then you got Friday, Chiefs versus Chargers. Then you got Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. Cleveland versus the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals. Miami Colts, Raiders, Patriots. List goes on and on. I'll look at a couple of games. Obviously, y'all know Eagles, Cowboys. That's a given. And definitely Chiefs, Chargers. I think there's some interesting storylines. I'm interested to see how Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid start this season off after being disrespected on the biggest stage. I'm interested to see if the Bengals, don't have a slow start, because that's been the knock on Zach Taylor and the whole Joe Burrow Bengals era is that they start off slow. Obviously, Joe Burrow has had a phenomenal training camp. I mean, he's top 5, top 6 quarterback in my eyes, whatever. He's a really good quarterback, great quarterback. But another game too, you got Packers, Detroit, gonna see if Micah Parsons plays. Texans, Rams, Baltimore, Bills. Got a couple of good Johns. Monday night, you got Bears, Vikings. JV, what are some matchups that you're looking forward to? Week 1 slate.
Well, you start on Thursday night, MJ. And man, I'm sounding like a Philly fan, but Philly is gonna put belt to ass on the Cowboys. 40 points. 40 points.
40.
There's nothing the Cowboys do better, except kicker, maybe, like you said, MJ. Brandon Aubrey better be ready to kick like 10 field goals that game, man. It's going to be an ass whooping. But outside of that, obviously, you got Chiefs, Chargers. I think the Chiefs take that one. I think the Giants, Commanders might be interesting, too, to see that pass rush against Jaden Daniels. I think the Giants might have some room there to pull off an upset. Bucks, Falcons is a good divisional game. I like your Bengals take, MJ. I have the Bengals winning, but there's so much uncertainty. Like, I thought back to last year when they lost to the Pats week 1, and you're thinking, like, how much worse can it get than that? And, like, I think Cleveland's an even worse team potentially, but you never know because Joe Burrow is notoriously starting slow in the season. And then Ravens, Bills, that's one that sticks out to me. Ravens are going to spank us, bro. I'm telling you, we're going to get spanked by Lamar. He's coming for that revenge tour because he didn't get the MVP last year. Maybe he deserved it, but I think we're going to get killed. And then Bears, Vikings, Monday Night Football.
Wait. We can't just gloss over. So you believe that the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, are going to Buffalo? Are they at Buffalo?
Yep, at Buffalo.
Buffalo, and they're going to whoop the Bills' ass?
We're going to get spanked, MJ. I'm telling you, like, I am a Bills guy. I'm a Bills fan. I love Josh Allen. But just like Nee said last episode, we are a very average team besides Josh Allen. Josh Allen makes us extraordinary. And I have no doubt we're going to go and win 13 games this year. But just like what happened last year, and I think it was week 4, we are going to get destroyed. Our defense just cannot handle the rushing attack of Lamar and Derrick Henry. We just can't. And for some reason, John Harbaugh failed to game plan the same way in the playoffs, and we lucked out. I'm going to be honest with you, because that second half, I'm telling you, we were limping. We were done. I thought it was wraps. Thanks to Mark Andrews, obviously, who won us that game. But it was wraps. The Ravens just have a better team than the Buffalo Bills. But we find a way to get it done. And I ain't going to complain about that. Regular season is regular season. I don't really care what happens as long as we get into the playoffs. But yeah, I think we're going to lose, unfortunately. But the Monday Nighter, I think, is interesting too. Bears-Vikings. I do think the Bears might take it. I like Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson week 1.
And it's at Chicago. Oh, and
yeah.
Hey, I don't know if some of y'all bet. I don't know if y'all bet. I only bet in Canada, JV. But if the Bears are plus money on Monday Night Football,
snag
oh
that.
my God, I'm taking it to the house. Taking it to the house. AJ, Nee, what's your matchups that you're looking forward to? And I guess when you name the matchups, you can like say like who you got winning and all that stuff.
Yeah, of course, man. JV took it. I think the Ravens are going to go into Buffalo and show that this is a revenge season. They are going to be on that this time. And we're actually going to see them healthy. They should be healthy coming into this game. And the offensive line is just too big, too strong. The Bills are a smaller defense, so it's going to be bad for them. Lamar Jackson's Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying anything new. This is a bad matchup, Bills and Ravens. The playoff, I understand. It was bad, but you look at the game, the Ravens were handling pretty well besides the turnovers from Mark Andrews fumble or Lamar fumble or the dumb pick. Besides that, they would handle them pretty well. The biggest game for me, though, and what I want to see at least, is the Chiefs and Chargers. The Chargers defense we know is really damn good, but the Chiefs I just expect to be on fire. Similar to the Ravens, have a revenge, this thought in their mind. We want to show everyone we are still that team. Mahomes with an actual left tackle. Out of all reports coming out from camp, Josh Simmons is the left tackle. He's the guy, right? He's the possible Trent Williams type of elite left tackle. If you add that with we have Xavier Worthy, we have Marquise Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce just got married. Hopefully he can play a lot better than he did last season. The defense we know will be special. We're going to add Rashid Rice later on in the season. I think this Chiefs team could be really dangerous. And we can see that firework that we've seen Mahomes have so many years to come this year as well. So of course, the last game, like you guys said, the Monday Night Football game, Bears, Vikings. It's going to be a really damn good game. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, his first game doing it. I can't wait to see what happens against a Brian Flores defense going into year 3 or 4 of that year. So I'm excited to see what happens. A lot of great games. Texans, Rams, like I love CJ Stroud. I love that defense going up against the Rams.
That's going to be a game, and I'm interested to see how the Rams offensive line protects Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, who I don't care if he's practicing now, if he's going to play, that back is not 100%. And they don't want to roll out week 1 with Jimmy G. And you're telling me Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are coming off the edge? And I know Puka is elite. I know Devontae Adams, they're elite. But you got Derek Stingley. You got a hellacious secondary right there. I mean, look, I think it's going to really show how great this Texans defense is. On the other side, you got that Rams front 7, and you're going to see Jerry Verse take that next step. You're going to see Braden Fix take that next step. So they've drafted extremely well, the Rams have. And you're going to see just a defensive battle, I would say, in that game. But other than that, I see, obviously, the Eagles spank the Cowboys. I loved your point about the Chiefs' need, because the biggest need that they addressed was left tackle. They had a guard playing tackle. Like, let me get a full screen right now. They had a guard. The Kansas City Chiefs won 15 games. And a guard was playing tackle. Joe Thuney, that same guard is going to the Bears. He's with the Bears now, and he's not playing tackle. He's there to play guard. And so looking at that, I think Xavier Worthy, he takes a jump. It's his second year under Andy Reid. So I think he's a dark horse candidate to get an all-pro. I'm not saying first team, but I do believe that if folks believe that Patrick Mahomes can win MVP, and I think he's a top 2 candidate in my eyes. I got somebody else winning MVP. Talk about awards a little bit later. But if you believe that Patrick Mahomes wins MVP, that means you have to believe in Xavier Worthy because Rashid Rice is going to be out for 6 games. He's not appealing that. He's going to, just serve the time. Xavier Worthy, he got to go crazy. I think another one is obviously Packers Lions. I'm interested to see, especially if Micah plays, how the Lions offensive line holds up. Are they still the same O-line from last year? Or do they take a step back? And then if they did take a step back, how does Jared Goff play when he has pressure in his face? How about David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs? They were Sonic and Knuckles. They were going crazy last season, but they had an all-time offensive line or one of the best offensive lines, at least in the 2020s, right? So we're going to see all of that. And I feel like it's one more, obviously, like Bills, Ravens, and I think this one's going to be big for the Ravens and not so much for the Bills because we know that the Bills in the postseason, they show up. JV made a great point about John Harbaugh, and he doesn't get enough flack for being arguably a bigger reason why the Ravens have lost in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson. Now, the quarterback is going to get majority of the blame, y'all. But some of the stuff John Harbaugh has done in terms of barely running the ball and playing into the defense's hands, they want Lamar Jackson to throw 30-plus times. They want him to throw the ball hella times. Not to say that Lamar can't, but it's taking away the greatest strength of the Ravens, which is running the ball with Derrick freaking Henry. Similarly with the Eagles, with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. So I agree. I think the Ravens not blow them out. I think it's going to be a close game. And I think last drive, Lamar Jackson, he gets it done. It might be a shootout. Might be a shootout right there. You got Keon Coleman there. Gabe Davis coming back for the Bills. I think they'll put up points, still the beginning of the season, Ravens defense, but which I believe is going to be elite, but it's still game 1 against an elite quarterback. I think it's a shootout, but I agree the Ravens pull it out. So, I mean, it's some great games. And we going to learn. I'm not going to say we're going to learn a lot because remember like last season, everybody thought the Saints were going to be like this crazy team. Like,
Super Bowl.
Oh, Derek Carr about to have himself like a MVP-like season. Alvin Kamara from the dead. Like, he's showing who he was 4 some years ago. Like, and then you look after that Eagles game and they lost some offensive linemen. They were cooked. So part of it is health, but the other part of it is like, we can't just be overreacting too much. So that's some stuff that we're definitely going to keep our eyes on. I want to now get into NFL awards. And I think we briefly talked about a couple of them last time we spoke. But obviously the Micah Parsons trade has to affect a lot in some way. Maybe it doesn't affect Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe it affects somebody else. I think we just have to retalk. We have to talk about the awards again. So I'm going to go down the list and y'all going to name me who y'all got for the award and like a short explanation as to why you got that person. So we're going to start off with MVP. I'm gonna go last, but Nee, I actually saw what you posted earlier today or yesterday. Now, the people don't know it yet, at least on Real Talk, but could you tell the people who you got for MVP?
Now, the MVP pick is Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to be different. As much as I love not being chalked, the MVP is Lamar Jackson. This is a guy that has continuity with his OC. He has an elite offensive line, an elite running back. Zay Flowers, I love. I think he's so underrated. 2 top 10 tight ends. And he is just right now at the apex of all his powers. He's still the best rushing quarterback in all of football. He's one of the best arms in all of football. I think right now we are in the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and for MJ, Jalen Hurts era of quarterback play. So Lamar Jackson, this is his year. He wins MVP.
Oh, yes, sir. How about you, Phil? How about you, JV?
Yeah, it's Lamar. It's Lamar 100 times out of 100 times, man. If he's healthy, Lamar Jackson's the MVP. If he plays a full 17-game season, I don't think anyone's coming close. Nobody's touching that award besides Lamar. Last year, he had an incredible season, and it was a good point you made, MJ, about the playoffs there. The one thing Josh Allen does really well in the playoffs, he doesn't turn over the ball, and Lamar seems to do that a lot. But when you talk regular season, he's efficient. Last year, he threw 4 interceptions. He was really, really solid. And I think he takes the league by storm. Again, we are, like Nee said, in the prime of the careers of a few of these big-time quarterbacks. And I think Lamar right now is at the top of his game. He's got Derrick Henry taking a little bit of pressure off him, opens up the offense, allows him to use his arm just a little bit more. I don't love the receiving room in Baltimore, but you can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson.
Nah, you can't for sure. I think he's definitely a viable option because the Ravens are going to be, in my estimation, the best team in the AFC. So if the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, Lamar, if he just has 30 touchdowns and a low number of picks, he's going to be at the least a top 2 favorite, top 3, maybe at like worst case scenario. But ultimately, the person that I got, and while I do respect the Lamar take, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. And let me talk about this real quick. As a matter of fact, I want to get y'all reactions when I'm saying this. Jalen Hurts is in prime position to win the NFL's most valuable player. I believe he's going to get 4K passing yards. I believe A.J. Brown is going to have a first-team all-pro caliber year. I believe Devontae Smith is going to have a Pro Bowl year. Dallas Goedert in a contract year, he's going to go crazy. Jahan Dotson, he was having a tremendous camp. He's going to go crazy. So if Jalen Hurts has 4K passing yards, add 600 to 700 rushing yards, I'm going to say he gets 25 passing touchdowns along with a minimum of 15 rushing touchdowns and single-digit interceptions. And the Eagles become the best team in the NFC in the regular season. They get that number 1 seed. Jalen Hurts, how could he not be the MVP? Now, if Lamar Jackson goes out here and does exactly what he did last season, you got me. You got me. Because, all right, if he got 41 passing touchdowns and he got, what's it called, like 800 some rushing yards, and I mean, like, look, you can't really beat that. And your number 1 seed, all right. And Patrick Mahomes, if he goes out here and has 50 passing touchdowns, I mean, look, for sure. But I think if they don't have berserk years like that, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts to win MVP. The narrative is with him. They're talking about him in the media. The Cam Newton, Hurts ain't putting up stats like this. I think there's going to be more on Hurts to, take more onus of the offense and help out Saquon Barkley, not put all the pressure on him. I like it. And that schedule they got. So now Hurts is going back and forth with these elite quarterbacks in this league, with the Bills, with the Chiefs, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield. You see the narrative that could be happening. All I'm saying is I'm going to ride with my guy. I'll go with Jalen Hurts. And just for all of y'all that might be like, Miles, we knew that you was going to say Hurts. If it's not Hurts, it's Patrick Mahomes. That's who I got. I got Patrick Mahomes because I do believe he's going to have a stellar season. And he's going to be on a revenge type season until he meets that guy in that midnight green Jalen Alexander Hurts, who consistently outplays him. But again, I could talk about that all day, every freaking day. Let's get into offensive player of the year. I'll go real quick. I got CeeDee Lamb as the offensive player of the year. I think the Cowboys are going to be down big in certain games, but even outside of the Cowboys being ass, in my estimation, they can't run the ball. I don't trust Javonte Williams. I don't trust Miles Sanders at this point of his career. I think Tyler Booker is going to struggle this season. While I do think he's going to have himself a fine career, rookie year, he's going to have some leaps and valleys. He's going to be facing a hellacious defensive line with the Giants, and he got to face Jalen Carter, them boys. It's not going to be too easy for bro. I'm looking at this. Dak is going to be in that pocket, and he got to pass the ball. And with George Pickens getting some attention, now CD can be in a lot of one-on-one matchups. I like CeeDee Lamb to win Offensive Player of the Year. Goblin Fantasy, that is a phenomenal pick. JV, who is your Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I don't mind it, MJ. CD's going to be a good option. If Dak is healthy, obviously. It's all dependent on that. But I'm going Jamar Chase. And for sure, it's boring. I agree. It sucks. But at the end of the day, there is no receiver in the league that will be fed the volume of Jamar Chase. Plain and simple. Joe Burrow's got nothing else going for him. Of course, he's got T. Higgins, but he's injured usually for half the season. And on top of that, this passing attack is everything that the Bengals got. Whether they're down late in games, whether they're up late in games, they're going to be in close battles. It's going to be high scoring. I would not be surprised to see Jamar Chase go back-to-back as the Triple Crown winner because he's going to get 180 targets, 200 targets, because he's all they got. So as far as production goes, I think it'll be Chase.
Wait, Miles, I can't hear you. That is me.
No, I can't hear him either.
Oh, I'm on mute. Hey,
Maybe.
it's interesting because Jamar Chase would be the first player to go back-to-back since Marshall Faulk. Now, this brother three-peated. That was crazy.
No, he didn't win.
Huh?
Saquon won, right? Am I tripping?
Marshall Faulk?
No, I'm talking about the Offensive Player of the Year. Am I tripping?
Oh, he won it, but he didn't go back-to-back.
No. Wait, Jamar Chase is the Offensive Player of the Year?
Jamar Chase, because JV, he got Jamar Chase winning Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And so I was saying he going to be the first one since Marshall Faulk to win it back-to-back. But Marshall Faulk, he three-peated. So if Jamar Chase do that, he'd be – I still got Jettas. But if he do that back-to-back, I mean, a triple crown, I mean, he got it. What you got, though, Nee?
I mean, listen, my bad for listening, tripping up. Listen, if y'all don't know, we're recording this at the real prime ball hours. I'm with Jamar Chase as well. It's crazy that me and JV picked the same pick back to back. But Jamar Chase is the most physically gifted receiver in all of football. As simple as that. A guy that can play the X or Y or the Z. A guy that can be double, can be bracketed, and still win consistently. Can get downfield on any cornerback in all of football. This is a guy that he's freaky. Like, in every sense of the word, this is a freak, a Zoid type of receiver. You build him in a lab. Can run like a running back, run routes like a slot receiver. He's big, he's strong, he's so elusive. He has everything. And Joe Burrow being his quarterback just makes it so much easier. T. Higgins on the other side of him means you can't really bracket or double him as much as you want as a defensive coordinator. Jamar Chase is just a freaky receiver. I think it's him.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with him. I think some other guys I'm going to just throw out there. Christian McCaffrey, 49ers got a light schedule. He could definitely be in the running, see if he just has that bounce back year. Could be looking at maybe a Derrick Henry potentially. Like, if he somehow defies Father Time, could look at him. I think a couple other guys like a Nico Collins. You could also look at Justin Jefferson with the Vikings. If you believe anything in JJ McCarthy, and I feel like you don't even have to have like so much belief. Like, as long as he's a top 15 quarterback by the end of the season, like Justin Jefferson could definitely win Offensive Player of the Year. So those are a couple of names there, but it's gonna be good. We got some high-powered offenses to look forward to. Let's talk about Defensive Player of the Year real quick. Um, me, I'm gonna go with Will Anderson with the Texans. I just feel like he's up for like his year where he stamps himself as I'm part of that group with the Micahs, with the Trey Henry. Well, I think he's already in that type of class, but if he wants to get to the TJ Watt, Miles Garrett class, or he wants to be on that trajectory, this is the season to do that, especially when the Texans defense is going to be relied upon to win them games, because I suspect their offense is going to have some struggles, being potentially the worst offensive line in the game. So I look at Will Anderson with the combination of Danielle Hunter, who's going to attract a lot of attention too. I think he will have himself a Defensive Player of the Year season. What you got, Nee?
Hopefully me and JP don't got the same pick this time. I'm going down to Philadelphia, actually, though. I'm going Jalen Carter. This is a guy that, Miles, if you watch the game, this is, I say the word freaky. When I mean freaky, I mean just freak athlete. It's a guy that can just do so many different things that isn't normal for a guy of his size, of his position, of his stature. And he does that play and play and play. I'm not going to go too long. This is a quote Aaron Donald had talking to LaShawn McCoy. He said, my predecessor is here. My next up guy is here, and it's Jalen Carter. So I think now we see the numbers match up with his play, because if you watch the film, not even the film, you watch the game, you see his jersey number pop up, play and play and play again. I think now if he can get double-digit sacks with his defense being top 2, top 1 in all of football, that's my Defense Player of the Year.
I love it. The folks gonna love it. Everybody gonna love it. I'm gonna clip some. They gonna love it. What you got, JV?
So you were right. The Micah trade definitely does shake things up. I'm a big believer in not just talent, but something to prove. And you've given an all-pro talent something to prove in Micah Parsons. So that's why I'm going Micah. Last year, he was on track for a 15.5 sack season. I think if he hits 17 or 18 sacks on the year and leads the league in total sacks, there's no way Micah Parsons isn't at least top 3 or doesn't win it, because there's going to be a magnifying glass on his season in Green Bay. Everyone's watching to see if he can produce now for the Packers. Well, not even if, but how he produces for them. And once he does put up those numbers and embarrasses Jerry Jones, the headlines will be all over ESPN, all over SportsCenter. And when that takes over, the Micah Defensive Player of the Year argument is just going to blow up. And I just have a feeling with the Cowboys letting go of him and letting him slide over to Green Bay, he's got something to prove now. I think he's going to take over.
I think similarly to how Saquon,
Facts.
left the Giants, and how it's like the Giants didn't believe in him anymore. And then you got Jerry Jones, who one-upped them and essentially said, we can't stop the run with Micah. That's why we're trading him. He flat out said trading Micah for Kenny Clark and 2 picks who aren't on the team now are better. Makes us better. It makes us a better team. Like, that's all the fuel Micah needs. So I definitely agree. Like, he's going to be a top 3 candidate for sure. And he got the narrative to go along with it, because, every time Micah goes crazy, what's the topic? It's going right to Jerry. It's going right to the Cowboys. So that if the Eagles drop 45 points on the Cowboys week 1, and then you see come Sunday, Micah Parsons is going crazy against the Lions and is terrorizing Jared Goff, that's going to play into the whole narrative and all that stuff. So, like, the narrative is definitely in Micah's favor, no doubt. And then another guy I'm going to just mention real quick, Jared Verse. He's a guy who's a sleeper pick, a real sleeper pick, because he terrorized the Eagles offensive line and you know how elite they are. And if he can do that and was arguably the best player on the field, at least on defense against the Eagles in that divisional round, you could definitely suspect that he could be in for a really, really great sophomore season. So we're going to look at that. Let's get into comeback player of the year. Nee, who you got?
Wow. You put me in what's name. This is such an interesting award because sometimes it can just be this player played bad, right? He just simply played bad. He wasn't good and he came back. But I'm going to try to go stick in kind of, the realm of, okay, this person was injured and came back and played really well. And I'm going to go on a limb here, right? I'm going to say Nick Chubb, running back, Houston Texans. Joe Mixon will not be playing this season. It kind of what you're hearing inklings of in training camp. And Nick Chubb is going to be a guy who's going to get a lot of the bulk of the work. Woody Marks is a guy that I don't think will be a workhorse back or even a third down back. Really, he can move a scat back and play here and there, but a bell cow back. And Nick Chubb is a guy that he's once again not built like the regular human beings. He's going through so much, his body wise, he still has produced at such a high level. So I think him being in an offense with CJ Stroud, who's going to move the ball up and down the field on a lot of defenses, if he can get 15 touchdowns, I know it's a high mark in 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards. I think with him just being the bell cow back, getting a lot of carries in this scheme that now won't be that heavy zone run scheme that we know was so predictable last year. I can see Nick Chubb. I know it's kind of a new name, but I can see Nick Chubb winning comeback player of the year.
Oh, I got some friends that have picked Nick Chubb in fantasy. I got Joe Mixon on my bench, but now it got me thinking because I got some tough ass wide receivers. I got Nico, I got CD, tight end, I got Brock. For my running backs, they not it. I got Pacheco and I think Braylon Allen, like it's trash. So I might have to invest in some Nick Chubb stock. But
Go some Nick Chubb.
I like that one. What you got, JV?
So I went in the same direction as Nee, not Nick Chubb, but I kind of went for someone obscure for comeback player of the year. I got Stephon Diggs. So the past 7 years, it's been a quarterback that's won the award. Before that, it was Keenan Allen, wide receiver. And I think this is the year that a receiver takes over. Don't like the odds for Dak. Don't like Tua's odds. I really like Stephon Diggs for the sole reason being that he's really the target hog in New England. If he can stay healthy, Drake May, we know he has the potential to do it. Let's say he throws 3,500 yards. Wouldn't be surprised if 1,200 of those go to Stephon Diggs. If he can stay healthy, like I said, I know he's coming off the season-ending injury. He's older, maybe 31 years old, I believe, 32 years old. That's cool. I could see him fall off production-wise, but he was on a really good track in Houston, and he looks real good in training camp, and he's still a dog. We know the route runner that Stephon Diggs has been in his career. We know the alpha he was in Buffalo. If he can even return to 75% of that, 80% of that, for New England, he's going to get the targets, he's going to get the volume, and he could put up the production to be the comeback player of the year.
For sure. I think Diggs is a good one. Who'd you have, JV, again?
I took Diggs. Nee took Chubb.
Yeah,
Chubb. You had Chubb. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey. I thought one of y'all was going to say it, but I'm going to say I think barring injury, this is a guy that's in prime position to win comeback player of the year because the narrative also is with him. Because if the 49ers win the division, win 12 games, and if Christian McCaffrey got 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards, 500 receiving yards, and he got 12 touchdowns, he could be not only in offensive player of the year talk, he's going to lock up comeback player of the year, and they got that cupcake schedule, like you said, JV. So I think he's definitely like a prime candidate for that. Another guy, Dak, Tua, I think this their teams aren't going to be good, so it's going to hurt. But hell, like if Dak lead the league in passing yards, and if he minimizes his turnovers, like he could have that narrative with him. Like, hey, I had that injury. If I was healthy last season, we would have done something. Tua got the same narrative. So we gonna see, but I think their teams are too flawed that their team success is gonna hurt their chances a little bit. Let's get into coach of the year. And this is a great one because you got a bunch of candidates, right? 'Cause you got Pete Carroll, you got Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson. I mean, if you think the 49ers are going to do well, you could say Kyle Shanahan. So, JV, who is your comeback? I said comeback. Who is your coach of the year?
I got Mike Vrabel. I'm sticking with the Pats here. I do think that the Patriots will have a bounce back season or a breakout season because they've been pretty bad for a while now. 4-13 last year. I think they have a chance at making the playoffs. And if that happens, if Mike Vrabel takes this roster from bottom of the barrel to potentially wild card, he's the coach of the year. Absolutely. Shocked that Tennessee got rid of him and parted ways. Wasn't meant to be whatever he was in Cleveland. He deserved a head coaching role. Players love him. He's had raving reviews. He's getting in scraps in training camp. I love his agenda that he pushes. I love the way he runs his team. I think he's the coach of the year.
Nee?
I'm going with Ben Johnson. Of course, I love Mike Vrabel. I love that pick. But Ben Johnson can make Caleb Williams the first 4,000-yard passer in Bears history, the first 30-touchdown passer in Bears history. He's going to change the city of Chicago and that narrative. He can get this team into a wild card spot in that tough division in his first year coaching. After we've seen what that offense looked like last year, Ben Johnson, they love an offensive guy. They love the next boy genius. I'm going with Ben Johnson.
Now, this is interesting because coach of the year is one of the biggest narrative awards like there is. MVP is a big narrative award, but I feel like coach of the year is right there because a guy in Andy Reid should get way more coach of the years. Like you're telling me with a left tackle who's suspect, you have the intellect to have a guard play left tackle. Rashee Rice is out. You have a rookie wide receiver. Hollywood Brown is out. Travis Kelce is old. And y'all win 15 games and you're not coach of the year. I feel like that's robbery. So you always got Andy Reid. I think even Sean McVay is somebody who's up there. If the Rams end up with the healthy Stafford, win the division, I'm going to go. Oh, also, Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is never going to get the credit that I believe he deserves because he got a great roster and because he doesn't call plays. So I think even if the Eagles, who I suspect get the number 1 seed, I don't think Nick Sirianni is going to get that respect of being coach of the year. So I'm going to say Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen, because I think the Jaguars got a very good shot of winning that division. Now, they hit rock bottom. And Trevor Lawrence, he hit rock bottom. But you have an amazing year from Brian Thomas Jr., and I suspect that he will build off that year. And he got himself a weapon. Liam Cohen got himself a weapon in Travis Hunter. I believe Travis Hunter is not right now. He's Shohei Ohtani. But I believe when his career is over, you're going to look back at it and be like, wow, the Browns had the number 2 overall pick and decide to trade down and not draft a generational talent in Travis Hunter. I think he will make a huge difference for that team. And also the division. The Colts not doing nothing. The Texans are very flawed offensively. Like, I think the Jaguars are definitely in position that they could win that division. And if they do, you got to look to the coaching staff and be like, hey, y'all turned around Trevor Lawrence's career. You turned around Jacksonville from being a dumpster fire. So I think it's not the sexiest pick. You got the Mike Vrabels, hell, even Pete Carroll. But I think a lot of it is dependent on the division that you're in. The Bears, that was damn near my pick, bro. And you picked it. I was like, all right, I got to think and slip it on the spot. But it's a lot of Johns. It's a lot of Johns. So we did MVP and we did offensive player of the year. We did defensive player of the year, did comeback player of the year, did coach of the year. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else. Oh, the rookies. Yeah, the rookies, and then we're done with the awards. Who is your offensive rookie of the year, Nee?
I'm going with Tetairoa McMillan. This is a guy that he's going to be the center of this offense. Bryce Young is a guy that I am putting my hope in. After seeing the Eagles game, it's really the Eagles game that taught me a lot. I was like, damn, this is a guy that the offensive line, if they can protect him, he still had that Bryce Young magic we've seen in Alabama. And he needed just a big body, throw a back shoulder. Even when he's covered, he's open. And that's the receiver that Tetairoa McMillan is. Can be that big slot. That big slot means you can get 100 catches, 110 catches, 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. We know he's going to be such a big red zone threat. Tetairoa McMillan in a Dave Canales offense, who we know has success with a Mike Evans already. I cannot wait what we can see with Tetairoa McMillan and Bryce Young.
JV, I be on mute and stuff. But yeah, JV, what's up?
I'm gonna go. I don't mind that pick actually. Nee. I like Tet. I think he'll have a big season, but I think the volume with Ashton Genty, I just can't pass up on it. I think he's going to be fed in that Pete Carroll offense that's on Marshawn Lynch back in the day, ball out. I think Gino's going to rely on Ashton Genty real heavily during the season, and regardless of if he's a successful rusher or not, I think the attempts will be there. He'll have the stats, and he'll obviously have the name as well at the end of the season. He'll be in the discussion, no doubt, but I do think he'll come away as the winner.
I love Genty. I think you're talking about a guy that if you're drafted that high as running back, 9 times out of 10, like you're gonna be a superstar. Like that's just exactly what it is. So, and I think Pete Carroll's gonna use him a lot like Marshawn Lynch. So you're gonna see a lot of those similarities there. I'm gonna go with Cam Ward. And the biggest reason why I'm going with Cam Ward is because he has Brian Callahan. You don't know who Brian Callahan is. I ain't going to say he's Jeff Stoutland, but he's a top 5 offensive coordinator. Not offensive coordinator. He's a top 5 offensive line coordinator in the game. Top 5 offensive line coach in the game. He has more experience coaching offensive lines than I've been alive. Like this guy is a guru. And so I think if Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward are what I believe they will be, you're looking at Cam Ward with time in the pocket. I mean, what are we talking about? And this is the same Brian Callahan that, had a pretty good offensive line in Tennessee last season. The issue was you got a bonehead and the guy that's doing the Mayo commercials. Like, cuz is terrible. What's cuz name? That be throwing the Mayo commercial. Will Levis. He be wilding. So I think Cam Ward, it's obviously leaning more towards quarterback. If a quarterback is having a phenomenal year, he's most likely going to win that. I think Cam Ward is like that. He's a captain for a reason. The guys are gravitating towards him. I got him as offensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year. I'm going to go first. Go on full screen real quick and bring y'all in. I'm going with Jahad Campbell as a defensive rookie of the year. I mean, I don't know a rookie that's in a better situation from the organization to the coach to the players than Jahad Campbell. He got Vic Fangio, a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, calling the defense. He's paired up with a defensive player of the year candidate in Zach Bond, along with Nakobe Dean and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. had a phenomenal training camp. And don't think that he's going to be on the bench all season. He's going to play. But the fact that Jahad Campbell as a rookie beat him for the spot, I mean, what is we talking about? Jahad Campbell is like that. And then I'm looking at this too. They're going to be missing Nakobe Dean for some time. And I just think the athletic prowess Jahad Campbell has, like, he's a freak. He's an abbot. What you talking about? These guys are freaks, Nee. These guys are freaks, bro. So I think he's getting put in a situation where Zach Bond is going to teach him everything that he knows. Kobe D is going to teach him everything that he knows. And he's in an organization that is surrounding him with a bunch of SEC guys that know how to win. And the whole team last year, they won. They're bringing that winning pedigree there. I got Jahad Campbell. JV, who is your defensive rookie of the year?
So the obvious pick is clearly Abdul Carter. You go for him, early round pick. But I don't want to go there. I want to go somewhere different, spice things up. I'm going to take Will Johnson, corner out of Arizona. I think he fell real late in the draft. And I think slotting in as a starter is going to be a big time role in Arizona. He's going to fill in there real nicely. He's going to be a starter day one. He's had raving reviews coming out of camp. And I think considering how far he fell, I think we were talking about this actually, MJ, on the last episode about his injury and that just being so weird, the way he fell without a real pressing threat of an injury like an ACL. I think the talent, Will Johnson, he's just going to ball out over in Arizona. And then I don't know if we're going to get to this, MJ, real quick, though. Protector of the year, I just wanted to mention. You know what? Matter of fact, put me on the big screen. Put me on the big screen. I'm going to tell you something, dude. I'm going to tell you something. They might as well take the Protector of the Year award and just write Philly offensive line on it and just hand it to them. Just hand it to them. The best O-line in the league. There's not one player on there that you can pinpoint and say they're better than the others. Everyone stacked. And I think as a new award, there are certain guys you can nitpick and say maybe Christian Darrisaw, maybe Sewell over in Detroit, whatever. Philly's offensive line might as well take that shit and just take it home. Take it home with the Super Bowl this year because I got them repeating. I don't know if we're getting the Super Bowl predictions this year, but I got them repeating with the Protector of the Year award.
Okay. Well, that could definitely be if the Eagles get it, and I agree, it damn near should be a unit award with them. You got Mailata, Lane, Jurgens, Land Dickerson. The only spot is guard. And I mean, hell, Tyler Steen has gotten every rep, first team in training camp. This guy, a guy they drafted in 2023, I trust Jeff Stoutland. But if somebody wins off that offensive line, I would predict it is Lane, either Lane or Mailata, one of those two. But defensive rookie of the year, who you got?
I mean, listening, I think what you guys said was amazing. In the aspect of the Eagles have the best offensive line. Okay, so I'm going to agree with you guys on that. I'm not going to talk too much on that. And Jahad Campbell is a freak. I think that's what you say. You said it right. He's a freak. Not only stand-up linebacker, but he's going to be playing a lot of edge as well. I can see later on in the season getting himself a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles. The numbers and being on a great defense will just help him win defense player of the year, defense rookie of the year. But for me, I mean, last year I went being different. This year I'm being who I think is going to win it. Abdul Carter is a freak. Micah Parsons think that. Von Miller think that. Lawrence Taylor think that. This guy that has the bend, he has the power in his hands. He had the underrated power of the size of himself. Putting him at stand-up linebacker, putting him on the edge, putting him at the spy, and putting him on the same defensive line with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, it's just going to be scary for people. Like, for me, I'm honestly scared for offensive lines not named the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, because you got to go against him, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, damn, one defensive line. So I got him winning it, learning from Brian Burns, like I said, learning from Thibodeau. Texie Dexy's amazing. Will Johnson, I love that pick as well. But yeah, I'm going with Abdul Carter.
And I think it's going to be great to see the Eagles offensive line against that Giants defensive line, because that's going to be just a great test for the playoffs. If you an Eagles fan, like, you want to face defenses like that prepare you. So you play like a Rams front seven or a 49ers front seven and be like, all right, they're nice, but they're not what we had to play twice a year. So I feel like you can't go wrong with whether it's Genty, Abdul Carter. Like, it's a reason why they were both drafted top 6, like, in the game, and all of that. So I think we've covered all the awards, and all of that. I think the last topic that I want to touch on real quick has got to be just picking the divisional, like, predictions. Like, whether it's AFC East and AFC North. We're gonna go to all of them. So we'll first start off with AFC East. Everybody got the Bills, right?
Yeah, Bills.
All right,
Bills.
all right. JV.
Yeah, I got. Don't worry, I got the Bills.
Yeah.
Don't you worry, I got the.
If
I
you
believe
a Bills fan,
100%.
and you ain't got y'all winning,
100%. 100%.
Okay.
I got the Bills. Don't you
okay,
worry.
to get that out the way, that's easy. AFC North, Ravens.
Ravens.
All right, pretty much got that. If the Bengals somehow win that, then Joe Burrow is
MVP.
winning MVP.
Yeah, sure.
I think everybody knows. If
For
the
sure.
Bengals win that division, Burrow is winning MVP. Is not even close.
Yes.
AFC South. This is going to be interesting. Nee, who you got winning this division?
I'm going with the Texans. I love CJ Stroud. You guys know this. I talked about it last time. CJ Stroud, in my opinion, is still the top 7, top 8 quarterback in all of football. He's so damn accurate. This is a guy that we're talking about just carrying an offense. Last season, no Nico Collins for a little bit, no Tank Dell for a little bit, no Stephon Diggs for a little bit. Offensive line was in shambles, and he still got a playoff win. This guy is just, in my opinion, a freakazoid at quarterback. The defense we know, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Aziz Al-Shir. I like Christian Harris. To'o. The secondary is freaky, crazy. A bunch of guys that can really stick in man coverage, good in zone coverage. D'Amico Ryans. I'm going with the Texans, man.
For sure. What you got, JV?
Yeah, I'm rocking with Nee here. I got the Texans too. Defense is just too good. And I know they got O-line issues, but I can't move them below division winner just because the O-line. Jaguars defense ain't good. Indianapolis defense ain't good. Titans defense ain't good. I just don't believe in the teams in that division. Houston benefits from having a poor division landscape. That's cool. They'll win a game or two in the playoffs. They won't go Super Bowl because I don't know how healthy the offense will be. But again, you got to roll Texans here, I think.
I would say, I mean, y'all heard it earlier. Like, I got the Jaguars. It's more just doubt on that Texans offensive line, and not only the Texans offensive line, but also my belief in Travis Hunter changing life for Trevor Lawrence is not me believing in Trevor Lawrence. It's just saying, all right, he was ass last season. Ain't no way he can be that ass back to back. So that's who I got. Let's get into AFC West, which is going to be, I feel like, very, very interesting. I feel like it is the best division in football. You got the AFC North, well, I would concede is the best in the NFC after I had my, we'll talk about that. But AFC West, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs. Who wins this? I'm going to go first. The Chiefs. The Chiefs. I'm sorry. Like, I got the Chiefs, bro. And they got the pieces they needed this offseason. They got the pieces they needed. Like, this whole like hate for Mahomes and Andy Reid, I'm like, he's still the best quarterback in the league. Andy Reid is still the best play caller of all time, still the best coach in the league. These two together with Chris Jones and Steve Spagnuolo, they go win you 14 games, 13 in a bad year, 12 in a down year. If the Broncos get 12 wins, Sean Payton's the coach of the year. So I got the Chiefs, but I think it gets interesting between 2 and 4 because a team that is very good could be 4. A team that's a playoff team could be number 3. So it's a lot there. JV, who you got winning the division?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. It's the Chiefs. You say they got everything they needed, but they made the Super Bowl last year too, MJ, right? Like, I mean, you're competing with Philly, but you still got a real good team. Andy Reid, Spags, Mahomes. It's going to be the Chiefs.
Nee?
I'm not going to be different. It's the Chiefs, obviously. What's his name? When Tom Brady was at his apex, he was dominating the AFC East. Mahomes doing the same thing with the AFC West right now. It's simple as that. But a thing that I do have kind of different, I don't have the Chargers making the playoff, actually. I really don't. I think the Broncos finished second, and the Chargers, I understand, a loaded team. Justin Herbert, really damn good. And the coach, Jim Harbaugh, excellent head coach. But Weapons-wise, outside of McConkey, I don't love it. Defense-wise, I think you take a step back from being an elite defense last year to a solid defense this year. So they could win 10 games and still miss the playoffs. So that's one different thing I got going there.
That's true. They could definitely win 10 and miss the playoffs.
They also got Greg Roman too, Nee, and I just don't think he's all that as an OC. Like, you saw what he did to Lamar, hindering his passing success. It's just like a training wheel system. It's run the ball, and Herbert just can't excel with that.
Yeah, I think it worked in the regular season in terms of like you can limit the mistakes of Herbert because you take away some of his responsibilities, like similar to remember when the Bills, the Bills, they were 6-6. I think the Eagles beat them in the overtime. They were like 6-6. They fire Ken Dorsey. They bring in Joe Brady, and Joe Brady is like, we got James Cook. I ain't saying that he's Saquon Barkley, but we're not using James Cook right. And then we saw the Bills be like, all right, Josh Allen, you Superman, but you ain't got to be Superman on first down. Wait for third down. I think with Herbert, they did that, but I'm still not high on Greg Roman in the playoffs. I think, again, we saw what Lamar has been without him. I think he's been better in the playoffs without Greg Roman. I just can't say it's hard for me to say they missed the playoffs, but at the same time, they could win 10 games, but I definitely don't have them being last. Like, some people got them last, like the Raiders being third. And I'm like, I can't see the Jim Harbaugh. I think he's 10 times the coach that his brother is. I'm at least right now. I think give Jim Harbaugh the Ravens roster. It's a foregone conclusion they win the championship. That's what I feel like. But at AFC West, that's going to be a tough division because you got the Broncos who got that defense, got that offensive line. Bo Nix, 29 passing touchdowns. Wasn't for Jaden Daniels, he would be the offensive rookie of the year. So it's a lot there. We'll go through the NFC real quick because I feel like there's not that much parity here. NFC East.
Eagles.
Is somebody gonna be different?
No. Eagles.
Okay. All right. All right. We got that's easy. NFC North. I'll go first. I got the Packers. I think the Lions, they missed the playoffs. I don't have the Lions making the playoffs. I think they'll finish last in their division. I think the Bears have a resurgence. I think the Vikings don't skip that much of a beat with Sam Darnold, but I would love to know who you'll have as the division winner and just your overall thoughts on the division as a whole. What you got, JV?
Yeah, I'm a little different here. I'm going the Vikings. I'm a big Vikings guy this year. I think the defense is great. Brian Flores is great. And you can have your questions about JJ. That's legit. But if Jettis is healthy eventually, and when you get Addison back from suspension, it's hard for me to see an unsuccessful year from JJ, especially considering what I saw from Sam Darnold. Kevin O'Connell, I have a lot of faith in. Now, forget the playoffs. We're not talking about that. But as far as the regular season goes, it's going to be a really competitive division. And there are going to be games in the division that are won or lost and define who makes or misses the playoffs. I think if the Vikings win 12 games, they could win the division, considering how close those games are going to be with the Packers, with the Bears, with the Lions. But really, it's a toss-up. It could go to any of the four teams.
And just like a betting tip for some of y'all that get into betting a little bit, them divisional games are gonna be one-score games almost every single time, especially in that NFC North. So, I mean, you could have a situation where maybe I got the Lions winning 9 games, the Bears got 10 games, the Packers got 12 games, and the Vikings, they got 14 games or something like that. Like, it's gonna be a loaded division. What you got, Nee?
I mean, I had the Packers before Micah Parsons trade, so of course I have the Packers after that trade. The division, I feel like, once again, will be the best in football. This is a different division that can have 4 teams, all with winning records. I have the Vikings going about 9-8, Bears 10-7, Lions around the 10-7 mark. I'm not as high on the Lions as other people are. I think when you lose 2 elite coordinators like that, you will have some fall off. Jared Goff losing 2 coordinators like that on both sides of the ball, yes, it does matter because the defense has so many holes being filled by Aaron Glenn. You lose your center. Like, that's a big big loss. Lose your guard on Jonah Jackson. That's a big loss. So I understand the Lions are really talented, so they'll still get 10 wins. This division will all have teams finishing above 500, but I'm going with the Packers to win a division. Jordan Love will have a good year this season. They will make sure to minimize his turnovers, run the football really well. Matthew Golden, Miles' guy, will have a pretty good season this year, be number one for them. So I got the Packers winning the division.
And to the NFC South, y'all might laugh at this. At first, I was saying the Buccaneers are going to win the NFC South. And then I saw what Alabama did against Florida State and how Michael Penix single-handedly got Kalen DeBoer the job at Alabama. And I'm saying this guy's a miracle worker because he himself was able to fool people that Kalen DeBoer could succeed the Nick Saban. So he must be the truth. Like Terry, the guy on the Falcons GM, Arthur Blank, all of these guys, Raheem Morris, they must have seen Jesus himself in them practice sessions because Michael Penix must have showed them everything and more. I think that he's the truth. Now, losing their left tackle is going to be a big deal for sure. But I do believe in Bijan Robinson. I do believe in Drake London. I believe in James Pierce Jr. I believe that in totality, this Falcons team is going to win that division. And if you talk about Coach of the Year candidates, another one could very well be Raheem Mostert if they – I said Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris. Said that last time. Raheem Morris. I think he is a guy that could very well win Coach of the Year. So I got the Falcons. I think the Panthers also could surprise some folks. Don't be surprised if the Buccaneers finish third, bro. All I'm saying is you got the Panthers coming. I'm going to be a little bit different today, but who do y'all have in the NFC South, JV?
Yeah, I got the Bucks, MJ. I'm really high on them this year, but I don't disagree with the Falcons take whatsoever. They went all in on edge pressure in the draft. So I think they're making a focal point to attack the quarterback, put pressure on them, because last year they really lacked there. And the offensive firepower evidently is there. But as far as the Bucks go, I just think they're getting a boost on defense. Hassan Reddick on the prove it deal. If he can show up, be the Hassan Reddick of old, you got Antoine Winfield Jr. back. Hopefully for a healthy season, you draft a Jacob Parrish or a Ben Morrison who fills in, hopefully as a starting corner. Then offensively, you got a ton of talent. So I do believe it's going to be between the Bucks and the Falcons. I do got the Bucks, but I also like the Panthers. Like you said, MJ, don't think they'll win or come close to a wild card, but 7-10 is a successful season in my opinion. And I think Bryce Young is the future for them.
Nee? I'm gonna be chalk once again. I want to be right, man. The Buccaneers. This is a team that has an MVP sleeper that I'm not gonna get too much into.
Yeah, I love it.
Like taking Mayfield heavy, man. In this defense, and Ty Bowles, we know he's a defensive-minded head coach. The defensive line actually is pretty damn good. Yaya Diaby, a lot of people don't know the name of that, but he's a damn good edge rusher. Vita Vea is damn good. Clyde Cansey is damn good. This defense has a lot of talent. Antoine Winfield Jr. Almost everyone who knows football knows one of the best safeties in all of football. The receiving core, McMillan, I understand he's hurt, but he'll be back soon. Chris Godwin will be back soon. Mike Evans, Emeka Ubuka, Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker as a third string. The offensive line we know is really damn talented. I know Wirfs is kind of banged up right now, but the Bucs have so much talent. Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the division right now until we can see Michael Penix prove otherwise. So, yeah, I'm going with the Buccaneers to win the division, but the Falcons, I agree with you, Mike. I'm a big Penix guy. He has the weapons. The defense should be good under Raheem Morris. So we'll see what happens.
For sure. I think a good point in terms of the Buccaneers wide receiver depth. Emeka Ubuka, I feel like they drafted him in the first round because they knew Chris Godwin is still going to be out for a couple of games this season. And so they don't want it to be a drop-off. Still, with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans being in and out the lineup last season, Baker Mayfield threw 4,500 passing yards. That's insane. So ultimately, they're definitely the favorite as they should, but there's always that team that like is the favorite to win their division and then it doesn't meet expectations. So we will see. And then last division is the NFC West. I'll go first. I got the 49ers. I feel like they got a top 3 easiest schedule in the league. I think the Rams are fooling people in this aspect. They start seasons off not too good. Now at the end, the Rams are in their prime, and that's because of Sean McVay. I think that's a credit of your coach if you grow as a team and at the end of the season, you're in prime shape to make a playoff run. And it says a lot about Matthew Stafford and the whole culture that they have there. But in the beginning of these seasons and midway, you be looking at the Rams like they're not looking too good right now. And maybe the offensive line is banged up. Maybe Puka's banged up. I don't know, but I'm not really certain they can win the division. Do I think they're more dangerous than the 49ers in the playoffs? Yeah. But like in the division, I think the 49ers should have it locked up. Who do y'all have? Like, I think it's between the 49ers and the Rams. Y'all nodding y'all head. Some folks been saying the Seahawks. I feel like some folks just want to be against the grain, and I don't see how Sam Darnold or Kyler Murray you could buy any stock on them. But Nee, who you got winning the NFC West?
Yeah, I love the Seahawks defense. I trust Mike McDonald in making that defense an elite defense, but I just don't trust Sam Darnold, like you said. Those last 2 games, just a burning image in my brain. He was horrible. He fell apart. The Cardinals, it has to be the year at some point. At some point. I mean, like Jonathan Gannon going into year 3, Kyler Murray. When are we going to see that first overall pick guy, that guy that was drafted first round in MLB, first round NFL? When are we going to see that talent that we've seen in your rookie season? We have to see it sometime, but I'm going with the Rams. The 49ers, I'm not that big on as other people. I understand that their schedule is easier, of course, but the receiving core, I do question. You lose Debo. You don't have no Ayuk this year. Pearsall is a bit injury prone. Dwan Jennings wants a new contract. We got to see about that. George Kittle's getting older there, so if you rely heavy on him, could he get injured? Could he get banged up? CMC, I love. If he stays healthy, I understand it, but I can't say that knowing CMC's injury history. The defense, bringing back Robert Saleh is huge, but I got to see it's a lot of young guys, unproven guys. And with the Rams, I'm getting known quantities. Sean McVay is an elite head coach. Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback. 2 damn good receivers. The offensive line actually has been playing a lot better as the seasons go on. They don't have any true difference makers like a Lane Johnson or Christian Darrisaw or Penei Sewell, but they have a lot of solid guys that play well together, and the defense is young and they're hungry. Braden Fisk is a dog. Kobe Turner is a dog. Jared Verse is a dog. They got a lot of dogs on that defense, so I'm going with the Rams to win the division.
JV?
Yeah, like Nee said, I'm not so high on that offense over in Seattle this year. I'm not sure what they're going to look like. The Cardinals, I want to sing their praises a little bit. The defense has gotten a lot better. They bring on Josh Sweat. They got a guy in Baron Browning, who I talked about earlier on this offseason, who had an insane pressure rate last year. He was excellent. So they're building something, but again, it's what is Kyler going to do? And I don't have ultimate faith he can be consistent. So it is between the Rams and the Niners, and the Rams have the better team. The Niners got the easy schedule, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams, all dependent on the health of Matthew Stafford. But I do think when you look at last year's run, they gave Philly their biggest competition of that playoff run by far. And I think they're going to return right back there with Devontae Adams. I think that's a big upgrade from Cooper Kupp, who used to be, your Triple Crown guy, but obviously didn't have that juice that I still think Devontae Adams has. So with that offense, that young defense, I think they're going to win the division.
For sure. Well, y'all heard our picks, the award predictions, division predictions after the Micah trade. So again, be sure to show some love. Show JV love. Show Nee love. But I mean, I know that JV's a Bills fan. He's a realistic Bills fan, but he covers all NFL. Hey, Nee does all 22 film breakdown. So if you're trying to learn more about the game of football, that's the guy for you. All of us, for real. So again, appreciate y'all hopping on. And is there something that you're excited to see, like week 1 before we end this episode, one thing that you're excited to see. I see you looking, Nee.
I'm
Looking,
trying.
Nee, like I see you thinking.
I mean, man, I'm really excited for football to be back, man. Talking ball with you guys every week, I hope, man, and watching the game. And I just love football so damn much. I guess one thing I'm excited to see, I'm gonna go a little bit against the grain. I want to see Shador Sanders playing, man. I want to see him playing early. He just brings a different juice to the team. Even what you think about him talent wise, or I don't really care about that, but just talking about entertainment wise, he's gonna be the biggest thing we've seen in Cleveland since LeBron James. So I can't wait to see. Hopefully, when he gets on the field.
Yeah, football is good to be back. I mean, I know you're probably obligated, MJ, to be filming on Thursday night with the Eagles. You want to do that game reaction, but I'm honestly just debating sitting back and watching. I think that's what I'm most excited to see. Just like enjoy football being back. Thanksgiving, hopefully that's going to be a great time too. Like we got so much ahead of us. It's going to be phenomenal. So I'm just pumped to watch the season, man, and be with you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. Looking forward to continue making content with y'all. Obviously, I'm looking forward to Thursday. I'll be at the link. Shout out StubHub. We'll be there. So be there in the building. See that Super Bowl banner drop. I've been waiting since I seen the Birds do it in February this year. I get to see it. So the whole city gonna be lit and all of that, bro. So, but also like other storylines. Like I want to see what Mahomes do. Interested to see how the Browns look. Like you said, the Shador part is great. What the Bengals look like. And again, we're gonna have some picks later on this week. So tune in. I'm gonna put some picks of the NFL Week 1 slate. But no, it's great. Again, show love to all the guys. We'll talk with MJ where y'all know we always keep it real. We out, y'all.